Alrighty everyone, how's it going? Hopefully you guys are having a great day. My name is Renegade Operative and I wanted to give my first impressions of the Battlefield 6 open beta. I was kind of fortunate enough to get into this beta early because they had early access for people who got codes on the 7th. And I managed to get in that very day due to a friend, Cryo Gaming, and I popped in the beta, popped it on, I got the code and everything from him, and I managed to have a lot of fun with my experience. So I want to go down the list and talk about all things Battlefield today and my first impressions on the game itself and what I think. First and foremost, we're going to start with a small synopsis. My history with Battlefield is brief. The games I have played so far was Battlefield 4. I remember enjoying the fuck out of that game, just playing it, enjoying it. You seeing all the crazy, random destruction in that game, just jumping down and then fucking killing people left and right. I enjoyed Battlefield 4 very much, and then I got back into later entries with Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 was, you know, the old war style game they had come out. And let's see, I'm gonna do some research here, see where Battlefield 1 took place, but I think, was it during like World War 1, right? That's the whole reason why they called it Battlefield 1, World War 1, yeah. So that was just a cool little experience I had, and I remember playing that a lot. I remember my friends like really enjoyed that game to pieces. So it kept me on that game for a little bit longer. The longevity was cool, running around with bayonets and fucking stabbing people with them, just going and seeing all the old like airplanes flying around. You could snipe people out of them. That was the most fun I had with a beta in the longest time. And now, you know, the last two entries of Battlefield, which is Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 2042, they were met with divisive reactions. I thoroughly remember it best when there was that one quote from, I think, someone from EA who said, you know, if you don't like what we're doing, then don't buy the game. And people kind of didn't buy the game, and it sold very poorly. It was a commercial disappointment for EA, according to what they say on the wiki, and I'm not really shocked by that. Some of the PR for that game was just not handled the best. Don't say that people, you know, if you don't like something, don't buy it, because people will definitely hold you up to that standard 100%. And then 2042, I heard from people saying that it was fun, but it didn't catch on. It did not catch on to a large degree, and I do remember that it came out buggy, and that might have caused, like, you know, those negative videos were coming out. Those negative videos were definitely pouring out about how, oh, the launch is buggy and shit like that. But then again, I think to myself, the launch for Battlefield 4 was buggy, and people also stuck with it as well. So it kind of goes up and down a little bit with how people are consistent, inconsistent, etc. Now we are here with Battlefield 6, and one thing I will say is that the game is not super buggy with this open beta. Believe it or not, there is problems that they can fix at launch, but it wasn't anything that was too egregious or something I looked at and said, oh shit, I don't like that, or that person glitched through the map, or some other shit going on. It felt like a smooth, seamless experience outside of just one small bug that I got, and that was the bug of saying that I wasn't the party leader at one point in the menu, and I was like, wait, I am the party leader, I have the crown, why can I not start a match? Why do you think that the party leader is someone else when I'm the only one in the lobby, in my own lobby, and I cannot start a match? That was a little bit frustrating and annoying, but that's something they could fix at launch. There was also the fact that these servers, man, they're, for lack of better words, they're getting fucked in the ass, all right? These servers are getting heavily penetrated. I don't know how else to say it, but because there's like 500,000 people on, like 500,000 people on this game, some of the queue times took me between an average of 20 seconds to waiting almost like 2 minutes just to get in. It's very up and down, so hopefully they do accommodate for bigger servers when you get around to the launch window of this game. Let's move on to the meat and potatoes of what is really important with a Battlefield game and a first-person shooter in general: the gameplay. The gameplay itself, in my personal opinion, feels very super enjoyable to play. It's moment-to-moment gunplay with the real aura and the sort of like just a heightened atmosphere of warfare everywhere. You know, you're infantry, you're on the ground. It's none of this shit where it's like, oh, everything's all sci-fi'd out or whatever, and you're jumping around in jetpacks and whatnot. And you might say, oh, this is, you know, I love future settings for first-person shooters and multiplayer, don't get me wrong, but it's none of that. It's boots on the ground, a modern aesthetic, and you're going in and you have to wipe out the other enemy teams and conquer the objectives and conquer the points that are centered around the map. That is Battlefield with various modes. The modes themselves that they presented is, you have your, it's not just, oh, you run around and you do TDM and that's it. Or you do deathmatch and you just kill a bunch of people and that's it. Yes, killing is involved, you're a soldier, it's what you're supposed to do, but it's Battlefield, and Battlefield is all about, you know, large scale fights. Meaning that there's conquest mode where you have to go to various points on big sides of the map and take the enemy objectives and push forward. They have modes that are centered around the fact that you have to push into certain objectives, right, and capture the points, and meanwhile, while these points are being captured, they will say something like, oh, the enemy's teammates are depleting in number, depending on how many points that you have. And if they lose all their teammates and you don't revive anybody, you don't res anybody, that means that you're going to deplete all your lives out. So it definitely makes things feel a lot more team focused in that regard. A lot more, you have to really pay attention to what you're doing. You have to get some good medics out there on the field. Otherwise, you're just going to lose men, you're going to lose lives, and then it's going to be over. It's a very team coordinated effort versus just going in there and being a one-man killing machine. I always like this about Battlefield. This is why I feel like it's a breath of fresh air when it comes to something like COD, and I didn't mind Black Ops 6, so I'm not gonna be one of those people that says, oh, I'm just gonna use this game to shit on Call of Duty Black Ops 6, because I really did enjoy that game for what it was for the most part. I don't think we need a Black Ops 7 right now, but I love that this game has come into fruition, and now both studios can have some real legitimate competition between each other, because competition is good. The gameplay, like I said, very good. It feels very smooth to play, just running around, crouching around. You know, you can also do like a dive bomb, so to speak, a slide and jump on the ground, get prone and crouch, all that stuff you would expect in your normal fundamental first-person shooter is here. You know, aim down the sights, you pick certain classes in this game, and the classes range between your assault class, which is your typical, what it says here is you're a frontline attacker who uses close and mid-range weapons to devastate enemy infantry, moving quickly and surviving attacks. That's the class that I run personally. I just like going in there, getting a few mindless kills and clearing people off the objective as fast as possible. You get a noob tube if you want to destroy stuff, blow people up, and that's good also as well for blowing open wooden doors, because the destruction in this game is one of the main features, always has been one of the core staples of Battlefield as we know it, and you could use that to a lot of your advantage in this game. You got a shotgun as well, get up close and personal, that could kill people in one hit with one shot to the chest, and I just love using that thing so much. It's fucking Rex House, and I cannot wait to see what more options and loadouts and other classes I can unlock. It's just like, once again, standard for first-person shooting affairs. You can level up and get more stuff for your weapons, and they do have a customization system that is tailored to points, and you use these points to put attachments on your guns, whether it's your typical hide the muzzle flash, or sometimes if you want to put a laser on your gun, laser sights, you could do that as well as other things like extending the magazine, which is what I did for one of my main assault rifles with my assault class, because I felt 30 bullets wasn't really enough when mowing down people from medium range. And those options are nice. I do hope there's a lot more. I stopped around level 21 before the beta closed, and I didn't get level 30, which I wanted more of the underbarrels and attachments from there. I kind of want to see how those coordinate and operate with different stats, and what is a buff, what is a nerf, and just run around with certain things. But there could be a little bit more customization to it, but again, it is an open beta. We'll see how the full skill tree of these guns and weapons and attachments feels like when they all unlock and we all get higher levels and we all see how it is and what is broken and what isn't and everything in between. Moving on from assault, because that's my basic class, they have engineer, the person that can fix up the vehicles, and if there's a tank being blown to smithereens, that person can get on the tank and use this like fucking blowtorch to fix it, right? It's always been ridiculous, but that's what they do in this game. And he's also someone who uses explosives as well. You can destroy people's hardware, or if they're on a turret or something, you can blow it up. If they're, you know, running around with a vehicle, you could probably blow that up too, and you have an SMG for close range encounters. Next we have the support, and that's the medic. He has a light submachine gun, and you could also provide cover to people. There's like a barricade system in this game. You can put a barricade down, you can give ammo, you can provide other resources as well to your teammate at large and help them thin out the herds of battle. And then recon is your typical sniper that can mark people, that can, you know, you see down the big ass sniper glint and you can just pop people's heads. You can lay C4 traps, and you can rack up those long distance headshots. And believe me when I say one of the maps, I think it was the Liberation Peak map, snipers are afoot on that game. But then again, it's Battlefield, is what you come to expect. And I like most of the classes. The ones that I waver in between, obviously, because I think I am a shit medic. Although people say, well, Renegade, you should play medic more often because you're good at it. No, I think I'm shit. I would just rather play assault, get in there real quick and get out, or play with a sniper because I think I'm very good with a sniper rifle. But I like that the game offers you these things, and it just feels right for what you're trying to do with Battlefield. And it's very easy to jump in and learn which style you prefer, as opposed to some games where it's like you pick a style, right, and there might be a bigger learning curve. You play Marvel Rivals and there might be a learning curve to being a particular style or class, whereas this one is easy to jump in and play. And then the maps. What I think of the quality of the maps is, I'm gonna keep this kind of brief. Liberation Peak is your typical war zone, big open space battlefield, things blowing the fuck up, things blowing apart with small shanty houses in between that can be blown up with the RPG. I'm not really the biggest fan of Liberation Peak. I think this is the worst map in the beta, because if you're fighting an uphill battle against anyone and you're trying to push the point, you're downhill, you're gonna have a hard time with 20,000 snipers and they can all see you quite clearly. And I just wish this map had things like ditches where you can just run in there real quick, and if someone wants to flush you out, they'll throw a grenade. But I wish it was ditches in between some of the fields where it's like, yes, people can sneak up on the opposing uphill team if you're not careful. That would have been a good way to say, hey, there's a tactical advantage that someone can have if they're not paying attention, as opposed to there's this giant field and you get plucked off rather easily. Although there is vehicles to accommodate that, where you can get in like a helicopter or something, and you can get in a jet or something, and you can shoot the fuck out of people. I saw people do that with some success, and not so much with people getting into helicopters and having the battlefield curse reign supreme upon them when they crash their helicopter into the side of a mountain. I think it's rather funny each and every single time that I see it, and it never stops getting funnier every singular time. It's cool, it's all cool, but this map is probably the worst one yet, in my opinion. I just wish it was, you know, kind of some way for downhill people to have a little bit of tactfulness going up the hill. Tacticianness, I'm sure that's not a word, but you know what, fuck it, we're leaving that in. Iberian Offensive, I believe this map is called. This is another one that's just, it's 50-50, it's mixed as so and so. I like the aesthetic of this map. It's another citywide map similar to Siege of Cairo, but I believe Siege of Cairo is a bit better. There's a lot more hiding spots in Iberian Offensive versus that one, which is, and it feels like it's a lot more enclosed than the Siege of Cairo map, where it feels a little bit open. You have the sort of battlefield of the open streets and the wrecked cars, and you could take a little bit more cover, as opposed to going into what is, I think, essentially these people that were sitting at this outdoor coffee shop, and people just getting into windows and fucking shooting the shit out of you and blowing shit up. It's just crazy. I feel these maps vary between bad and decent. Siege of Cairo, like I said, is a very decent map. I enjoyed it for what it is. It feels like there is cover for people who are running into the streets, places to go, upper areas, lower areas to get the drop on people, whereas Iberian Offensive is offensive to my eyes, and I wish that map never existed in the first place. So you got two bad maps, one decent one, and I just hope they decide to up the ante, because there's only like 9 or 8 maps in this game. I hope Rush next week, the game mode that's coming along with the Brooklyn map, Empire, is also really good, and it has a lot to do. And I want to go back to that flair of I can jump off a building, use a fucking sniper rifle on someone, and just have that chaotic moment that I had with Battlefield 4, where I was like jumping off large scale buildings and just having a good fucking time and sniping people, and vice versa. I feel like the actual scale of war was realized in this game. You're going to have the big explosions, the tanks, the infantry going about, the giant 64-player skirmishes that Battlefield is known for. This game captures all of that well and in spades. All the audio in Battlefield done well, and this is no exception to the rule. The audio is fantastic. You hear your war cries, people saying "fuck, medic, revive me," you know, all that stuff that you would expect, that gives it that sort of gritty but realistic feel. I can't wait for the campaign of this game and how they're gonna do it, because I think they nailed the aesthetic of how the multiplayer looks, and it's just awesome how it looks, how it feels, how it sounds. Next up is the gunplay. The gunplay, I had no problem with this. It's definitely fine for what it is. What typically makes bad gunplay, in my opinion, is when, you know, you're shooting someone and it takes forever to kill them. I saw folks on the Battlefield subreddit say that the time to kill was way too high. I thought it was fine for what it was. I didn't really have a big problem with the TTK in this game. It's like you just shoot someone a couple of times, they're supposed to go down and die. I think if it was larger than what it was, then it would be a problem. I don't like games with high time the kills, you know what I mean? I want to shoot someone and I want to make sure that motherfucker's dead at normal health, and the same can apply to me. I might die and I might say that it's bullshit, but you know, the general gunplay, the damage, the explosions, it all felt fine for what it is. The movement, I think, could be slightly better. This is kind of the thing where I go, I like COD's movement a little bit better than Black Ops 6. I just feel that way, but it's not bad. It's definitely not bad. It's just that omnidirectional movement that was in Black Ops 6 kind of spoiled me to how movement works in general for first-person shooters, and therefore I would be like, I would prefer that a lot more than what they have here. But it's not bad. Once more, it's all functional. You know, you vault over shit, you dive over shit, you take cover. The only issue I have with that, and sort of it leads back into the gunplay, is I wish you could do manual peeking. I have no idea why you just can't do that in some of these modern first-person shooters like Battlefield 6, where in order to peek you have to just be stationary behind a piece of plywood or a wall or anything of that magnitude, and then you tap the button and then you can finally peek, as opposed to doing it manually like Siege, where you can peek left or right depending on what you do at any point in time, whether you're mobile, whether you're moving. I feel that game could have accommodated with that, but they don't have it. So that's just like a small nitpick, but I do think this runs smooth at a smooth 60 FPS. The controls, for the most part, were very intuitive with the movement at hand, so that wasn't really a problem. Just getting around and discovering, oh hey, I do this and do that. You can pick this game up no problem without even looking at the control scheme, because again, it has your you know, your shooter controls, and that should be embedded into your head. You know, this is the triggers, this is what it does, this is how you throw grenades. If you played one Battlefield, you've played this one on a control scheme, and that wasn't really a problem here. You know what to do at all times, and it's very easy to pick up and play. The net code, I'm gonna be honest, in my personal experience, because I had friends say that they did not like the net code, or I saw people talk about how there's skill-based matchmaking in here. I was getting a lot of wins. I didn't feel like I got into a match and I was just getting completely dominated because I won a set, and then all of a sudden skill-based matchmaking kicks in and I get fucking destroyed by like people that are well above my area. I felt that it was fine. It feels like if you lose in this game, then your team is not coordinating enough, and this is a true team-based experience. For me, that's kind of how I felt, and you'll win some, you'll lose some. Therefore, in terms of the whole skill-based thing, that really did bug me. The netcode, that really also didn't bug me as well. I have gigabit internet, and I didn't see anything too crazy other than one small instance of someone shooting me through a barricade, and I was just like, how the fuck, how was that possible? How did he kill me? That was the only small instance in this game where I was about to rage hard. I was about to put my foot up that player's ass, and Noob Master 69. I was about to put my foot right in his ass. But I did know what exactly happened there when he shot me through a metal barricade, and I was perfectly behind cover. But that's, for me personally, that's a small instance outside of a game that really played super great. I didn't see people head glitching or going through the walls or, you know, cheating to a vast degree. I hope they keep that same atmosphere, or at least, you know, tweak it, make sure that any exploits are all patched out. This is going to be a big community effort along with Battlefield Labs, so definitely let those people know your feedback. But outside of one instance where someone shot me through something, I didn't see many issues with the netcode, many glitches outside of maybe two small instances, and that's pretty good for an open beta. The UI itself, just a small pick about the UI. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. If anything, when it comes to UI, the main thing you're gonna want is it to. I feel like the weapons and how you cycle through them in this one, you know, the icons are just a little bit too small for my taste. I was just staring at my TV and looking at my gameplay right there, seeing my gameplay. I was like, what was the issue I had with the UI? And it's not so much everything else. The map's fine, how the health is coordinated is fine. It's just simply some of the weapon icons are kind of very tiny. All right, hopefully there is customizable UI accessibility features. I feel like this is a non-issue if they decide to go in and fix that. Oh, you make one side a little bit bigger or one side a little bit smaller to your preface. That's how they usually workshop that in, and after The Last of Us Part 2 doing accessibility, I mean, you can do it with games of this nature. Customization, in my personal opinion, is always nice. Now, like I said, overall, everything has been positive. There's been a few negatives which can be fixed since this was an open beta, but so far this is one of the better Battlefield experiences I have played recently. Great gunplay, decent movement. There's a few issues here or there, but nothing really too game breaking. Just the large scale war and the fighting and the explosion and the ass blowing up is something that is worth experiencing. There's a few other things I would like them to add, and that is, I think they need to bring back squads, because when you are in a party in Battlefield, it's only a party of 4. And I feel like this game, considering such large-scale combat, you could probably enhance that to 5 people or 6 people. I want to really bring a posse in and fuck shit up, and I should be able to do that. And squads was in previous Battlefield games. Why can't I just have 5 people and go in there and wreck house? I feel like 4 is less of a person, and I got friends that are very interested in this game that might buy this game. More friends means the more the merrier. Bring back squads. Next up is, like I said, there could be more to the customization system. It's interesting and intriguing to a level where you have your basic shit, but I wish it was more to it than meets the eye. Again, I don't want it to be broken or overpowered. I like the balance in this game as well. Just adding more of features, and you know, there's gonna definitely be micros in this game. If you're crazy if you're not expecting micros in this game, if there's like fucking 500,000 people playing it. So I don't know, just no pay to win, please, for the love of God. Or if you're gonna do that, make it fair. But yeah, I don't like pay to win stuff like that. Just a little bit more trinkets and options to some of the guns would be nice. There was the not party leader bug, which I talked about before, where I couldn't leave a match. They have to fix that because I was the party leader. I didn't like that Cairo didn't have full-scale destruction for people who camp in buildings, and you can probably say that for Iberian Offensive as well. If someone is deep in a high-rise building, in previous Battlefields, you can just blow that motherfucker up and it will come crashing down, and boom. There is no place to camp, Johnny. You gotta face me out in the open. That's not to say there isn't some instance of, oh, you blow up a building and you can see someone, you can blow through the walls and see certain people. The destruction in this game is definitely good. All right, I definitely enjoyed it, but there could be a little bit more to it. I wish every building was destructible, and it's kind of not in this game, where you can just bring the whole house down and then that person's fucked if they camp inside a building. Maybe once again that's the thing that they could fix, but the game is like 2 months away. I highly doubt it. There will be places where people can hide and possibly get away with it. So I just hope that more holes can be blown through these places and it exposes the target. So if a little bitch decides to hide, then he can't hide forever. So more large-scale destruction, please. That's just a little, you know, a little ass, so to speak. I don't know if it would be a negative, but that's just a little desire for me. and they need to buff tanks, which is in my notes. There are two people. There was one YouTuber that was talking about this with Battlefield 6, where he said the tanks feel like paper mache. There was a friend that agreed with me when I asked him this, and I said, do you feel like the tanks feel weak in this game compared to other Battlefields? And he said yes, there could be a bit of a buff on tank resistance and it taking a couple of shots before it dies. And then there was also people in the Battlefield subreddit saying the same thing, that the tanks are very much nerfed in this game. Therefore, I'm going to agree with those people and say buff the tanks a little bit. And the last thing is, this is not a negative, but I feel like the best mode is obviously, you know, Conquest, getting out there. Domination, I was killing it today with Domination. And then there was, because I won like a couple straight in a row. I don't think I have it in this gameplay footage, but I remember I won 4 straight Domination games. King of the Hill is my least enjoyable mode. I can't stand that shit. That's like King of the Hill deathmatch. Therefore, I think if you're a casual player, if you want to see true sweat, if you want to see people just sweat their entire faces off, then King of the Hill is going to be the mode that does it. What am I saying with casuals? That's for hardcore people. Hardcore people are gonna probably eat that shit up. Casual people are probably gonna play that one time and turn it off. All right, I'm just setting the rule book right now for you, just in case. Like I said, overall, Battlefield 6 is very enjoyable. I don't want to do the whole fanboy war that people do of, oh, COD versus Battlefield, all that other shit. I feel like with Black Ops 6 and now my experience with Battlefield 6, it's like, oh, 2 cakes. I will eat them. I will enjoy them, no problem. Although I'm not really interested in Black Ops 7, but if the game is great and I try it out on Game Pass and it is what it is and it feels like a true revolution of Black Ops 6, then I'm gonna give it its due diligence. That's what I say. But it is impressive seeing how far they have come with going back to basics with Battlefield, and that was thoroughly needed. Shout outs to Criterion, DICE, and Motive for, you know, collabing in this project and making this game a realization of what Battlefield needs to go back to and be. And that's definitely what I felt paramount in this one for sure, and I cannot wait to play it. Will I get it at launch? I don't know about launch, but definitely later on, it's a cop for me, for sure. I'm definitely buying this game, and I'm definitely playing it with people if they want to play it. Until then, this is Renegade Operative signing off. That's my positive first impression of Battlefield 6. I believe after this open beta, we are etching back to greatness with Back to Basics. And tell me what you thought in the comment section below if you played this beta. Remember, next week, because it's over this week, it's about to end in about the next couple of minutes. But next week they will bring out a new mode. It will be a second open beta, and I'm definitely going to be on that and seeing how that is and trying that out with friends. Until then, I will see you guys next time. Later.